Today, let us continue with our chapter, Some Basic Concepts in Chemistry. Yesterday, we have discussed about chemistry and the different branches in chemistry. Today, first let us see the importance of chemistry. Importance of chemistry, and particularly we are going to study about the importance of chemistry in our day-to-day life. So, let us discuss the importance of chemistry in different fields. First, let us consider in the field of medicine. Children, if you just think about some medicines like cisplatin, Taxol, which is generally used for the treatment of cancer, as well as if you consider acidothiamidine, which is used for the treatment of AIDS, these are all, we can say, that blessings of chemistry. In addition to this, medicines like antipyretics, which are used to lower the temperature, or analgesic, which are used to get relief for fever, as well as antibiotics, antiseptics, disinfectants. These are different types of medicines which the society is using. It is because of chemistry. So we can say that chemistry plays a very important role in the field of medicine. Is it clear, children? Second one we can consider in the field of industry. That is, if you consider, we are having different types of synthetic fibers like nylon, rayon, etc. As well as we are using types of polymers like bakelite, melamine formaldehyde, that is the unbreakable plates, crockery items. These are all made up of polymers. So these are, again, we are getting it because of chemistry. Third one you consider in the field of agriculture. You all know that in order to increase the yield of products, we are dependent on different fertilizers as well as pesticides, herbicides, etc. This is again because of, it is again a blessing of chemistry. Fourth one you just consider to make the life of us, that is the life of human beings, more comfortable, more convenient, as well as to make it pleasurable, we are dependent on chemistry. You know that whatever be the weather patterns, to make the weather very cool, calm, we are dependent on AC, as well as we are using different synthetic things like detergents, soaps, cosmetics, oils, essences. These are all because of chemistry. In addition to this, you know, in film industry, the films are made of celluloid which are coated with different substances. So again we can say that to make our life more comfortable, we are dependent on chemistry. In addition to this, you know that students, one of the most important problem is the exhaustion of energy resources. You know that is petroleum and coal products are getting exhausted. So now we know how to prepare artificial fuels. That is again a blessing of chemistry. So just see, if you just look around yourself, in each and every field, in some or other way, we are dependent on chemistry. So that is why we consider that chemistry is very essential for the existence of mankind. It is not only chemistry, children, all the subjects are very important, but since now when we are discussing about chemistry, we have seen the importance of chemistry. Is it clear, children? Now let us start with our chapter, that is matter and its classification. Anyone in the class, can you please define matter? Yes, matter means anything which has mass and occupies space. This definition we are studying it from lower class. I think around from 3rd, 4th classes we are studying about matter. It is the anything which occupies space and has mass is termed as matter. Now we are going to study about, actually we are going to just recall the physical and chemical classification of matter. So first let us consider, on the basis of physical properties, we can classify matter mainly into 3, that is solids, liquids and gases. Children, you must have heard about the next 2 classes of matter also. That is, the 4th state is termed as plasma and the 5th state is termed as Bose-Einstein condensate. But now, since generally matter exists in the 3 states at the normal conditions, we are studying only about 3 states of matter, that is solid, liquids and gases. If you talk about solids, you know that in solids particles are very closely packed to one another. You take whatever be the example, you can see that in solids you can see the particles are very close to one another. Since the particles are very closely packed or tightly packed, we can say that intermolecular space is the least and intermolecular force is the strongest in solids. In solid, particles are very closely packed, or they are very tightly packed. So intermolecular force is the strongest and intermolecular force is the weaker. Intermolecular space is the least in case of solids. On the other hand, if you consider liquids, here we can say that the particles are loosely packed. In this case, the particles are loosely packed. Since they are loosely packed, intermolecular space is more in liquids and the intermolecular force is less in case of liquids compared to solids. Okay, in case of liquids, molecules are loosely packed, so intermolecular space is more and intermolecular force is less in liquids compared to solids. And in case of gases, you can see that the particles are very loosely packed. Particles are very loosely packed. So intermolecular space is the maximum and intermolecular force is the least in case of gases compared to solids. So when we compare the properties of solids, liquids and gases, we can say that in solids, intermolecular space is the least and intermolecular force is maximum. In case of liquid, intermolecular space is less and intermolecular space is more and intermolecular force is less compared to solids. And when we are comparing gases, here the intermolecular space is maximum and intermolecular force is least compared to solids as well as liquids. Now the second one, we can consider that in case of solids, they possesses many surfaces. They are having many open surfaces. But in case of liquids, they possesses only one surface. And in case of gases, they don't have any surface at all. Is it clear, children? In case of solids, we can see the presence of many open surfaces are there, but in liquids they possess only one surface, and in case of gases there are no open surface at all. Now third one, we can say that if you consider solids, generally the solids possesses a sharp melting point. But there are so many exceptions, but generally we can, since we will be studying about types of solids, and on that basis this property will also change. But generally we can say that they possesses a sharp melting point. In case of liquids, they will be having a sharp boiling point, but in case of gases there is neither sharp melting point nor sharp boiling point. Is it clear, children? And if you consider the fourth property, we can say that in solids the rate of diffusion. Do you remember what is diffusion? Yes, it is the intermixing of particles from higher concentration to lower concentration. So here we can say that the rate of diffusion is the least in case of solids. It is less or it is more compared to solids in case of liquids, and it is maximum in case of gases. Is it clear? That is why, students, if you just light an incense stick in puja room, you will get a smell of that incense sticks in your study room, since the rate of diffusion is maximum in case of gases. Is it clear, children? That is about the properties of three states of matter on the basis of, that is, on the basis of physical properties. We classify matter into three classes: solids, liquids and gases, and we have seen their properties. Okay, children, so next class we will study about the chemical composition, on the basis of chemical property, the classification of matter. Thank you.